Welcome to Getting Back Up, where grief meets growth.
Two men, two fathers, and one shared journey of rebuilding.
We're talking about life after cancer, love, loss, and everything no one tells you.
Well, let's get into it.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Getting Back Up, Finding Life After Death with David McClain and...
This is Jamal Jones.
Wow, we had an incredible conversation. First part one with Whitney Lyn Allen, and she just really set everything up as far as her inspiration to move forward, setting the foundation, as I said, about moving from the career she knew to it evolving into something else to really help people. Right, Jamal?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think her story is an amazing one. And honestly, I mean, it's something that's helped to keep us motivated on our journey. So we're excited to share this part two of our interview with Whitney Allen with you. And hopefully you enjoyed this one as well.
Yeah, here it comes.
You know, as you think about, kind of the continuing on the path forward. And I think this also, for me, touches upon like what made you kind of decide to like move from your path is really focusing on, kind of your legal career into kind of leaning into this experience and allowing it to, to kind of bridge you into kind of grief counseling. What was that? What did that look like for you? So between like
and author too.
And author, right? Yeah. So I mean, I was gonna say like
books.
between deciding to kind of translate this into writing and making the decision to go into kind of the grief counseling, and then expanding it into more kind of the public visibility to be. I mean, essentially, and this is what David and I talk about, is being a voice for healthy grief, being a voice for healthy loss, being a grief to be okay, like you said, not being happy all the time. What does that look like for you? One, kind of continuing that journey, balancing the being, and in some cases, same as we started this, tell us about your past, what happened, like being able to balance that with, kind of the future for you. How's that been?
Yeah. I guess the first part of your question is like that transition, or I guess like that mindset from doing one certain career, the legal career, and then transitioning into what I do now. And it's almost like so simple, but it's just like, I was so different. I was such a different person. I changed so much from losing Ryan in that experience. I simply could not imagine going back to what I was doing before. Like, I just could not even fathom it. I'm sure if I had to, because of financial reasons, obviously I would have gone back. I was fortunate enough, we had life insurance, and I was on maternity leave with my little guy. So I was still getting paid for a portion of the time that, like, through that summer after Ryan died. He died in April. So I had some time to figure it out, which was a gift, 100%. And a lot of people don't have that. And then I just also realized when I started sharing online, and I mean, I started sharing just because I was really sick of getting texts and calls from people asking for updates. I didn't have the capacity, and I was just getting so annoyed. I'm like, I just can't, it's just so overwhelming. But
yes.
It's hard, but I did feel like people care.
Whitney, testify. Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
But like they really cared. And it became an outlet for me to write about what we were experiencing as a family. And I didn't expect it to have the effect that it did on not just our community, but like some of the posts that I wrote like went viral. And it obviously did not expect that. I was just like family and friends on my social media when Ryan's accident happened. So it was really for that purpose. And then after he died, I just got, just throughout that entire process, I was getting so many messages from people saying like, thank you so much for sharing this. Like, I went through this loss, and I realized, having entered this world so unwillingly, how many people were struggling and how what I was sharing was helping in some way. And I'm like, there's something to this. No one's talking about this. Why aren't people talking about these things? Like there's hundreds of thousands of people, right? And we don't talk about it. It's like so taboo. And I really felt like I didn't have the support that I needed. And I'm like, I don't want other people to feel that way. I want people to have somebody that they can trust and that gets what they're going through. So I'm like, okay, how do I didn't even know, like, I'm not a business person. I was never an entrepreneur. I really was just like, I'm gonna do this thing and I'll figure it out along the way. So first I was like, I know I need to get certified. At least I want to really, really be able to tangibly help people and know what the heck I'm doing. So let's learn from an expert. So I took David Kessler's grief certification course, and that was amazing. So I got certified, and then I started taking on clients. And I, like the law, it's like law school really doesn't teach you how to be a lawyer. Just like even like the certification course, I felt like it gave a lot of background and I had a foundation, but working with clients for now 3+ years, I mean, that was really what taught me how to help people do what I do. So I hope I answered that question.
Oh yeah, you did.
The other thing that I want to ask about is each time that you organize your widow retreats, is there something that you get out of each of those different cycles when you are in company with women who are starting in another place that you remember?
Yeah.
And then they get to a certain place when they leave and have the tools when they are gone from wherever wonderful place you guys have gone and home and food cooked and everything brought together and all. But my question is, how have you changed through some of those widow experiences, widow retreats that you now have had a few, I imagine? How have you changed in that?
Yeah, I'm always, it always just like solidifies that I'm doing exactly what I'm here to do when I see that. And, obviously you hope for the best experience when you do something so intimate and something so personal like a widow's retreat. But every widow's retreat that I've done, I'm still so amazed when I see people like those light bulb moments go off and they're really able to be vulnerable. And that might be like the first time that they're able to be really truthful, not just with other people, but with themselves, because I think just how society is set up, and even if they have people in their lives that are supportive, it's not the same as being in community with other people that are going through the same thing.
Right. Yeah.
It's just not the same. And I think we heal in community, whatever that looks like. And obviously I do one-on-one coaching and I love therapy. And I don't think it's just one thing, right? There has to be a lot of different things happening at one time for people to really start feeling a difference and be able to work through some of the resistance that grief can cause.
And the women who come together, there's this common language, sure, that you all form, and the laughs, they're defined by instead of crying, the laughing. You can all do that together. Remember the funny things, the little things that you recall as a widow or widower in any of these situations. There's like a shorthand I'm sure you all establish in those settings, I imagine, right? And I just love what you said about the mission. You didn't ask for this mission, but the mission found you,
right?
And I just think that's so lovely that you're doing that. We would love to emulate that on the widower side and have the same kinds of trips.
Yeah, I will say I feel because I do have some clients that are widowers, and I have a lot of widowers message me and being like, can I join your retreats? And I'm like, right now it's like I would just do either women or men.
Exactly.
Because I think you know, you don't want to make it too complex.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
I think I wish that there was somebody that would do that, because it's really needed on the other side too. And I think there's something really special when people that are going through the same thing and they're the same gender, like, because it's different for
Yeah.
it just is different, right? It's
Yeah.
yes, you've lost a spouse, but it is a different experience for men and women, and
Yes.
that's for men. That's for many different reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So again, it's that similarity that I think really helps, and I hope you guys do that at some point
Yeah.
for widowers.
We've
think about it.
we're talking about it.
I have
We
a
are.
location in my head actually
Yeah.
Yes,
already,
I'm
but
sure there's a
yeah.
lot of hiking involved with it.
Whitney, you hear that? Because
or New Mexico. 'Cause
yeah,
he loves
it
New
could be New
Mexico.
Mexico. You're
Oh,
trying to get, yeah. Anyway,
yeah,
but I love hiking in the outdoors and all
Uh-huh.
that. So that's
Yeah.
it may be a
yeah.
feature.
We'll
Of,
make it New
yeah.
Mexico. We'll just
Well, it could be
we'll see.
here. Anyway, go ahead.
No, so I had to, it's, as you were talking about your career transition
Mm-hmm.
and kind of that decision to kind of move away from kind of the legal,
Mm-hmm.
kind of the legal career. I wanted to kind of backtrack a little bit on like
Sure.
when you lost Ryan and kind of tying it to the guilt. I always thought about it, and Dave and I have talked about this in the context of like the pressure to do more. Did I do enough? Did
Yeah.
you ever have did you ever struggle with kind of leaning into your legal experience and your malpractice experience, your medical malpractice experience, and to go back and kind of think, what did they do wrong? Why isn't he not here? Did anything like that ever come up for you?
In terms of the medical care that he got,
Yeah.
no. In
Okay.
terms of my part in what happened, obviously, like I was there when like when everything was going down. Obviously, I mean, I've taken myself through that again, like we talked about before, that scenario where it's like, oh, he ends up okay. The only scenario that he would have ended up okay was if he had an EpiPen, which we didn't have because we didn't know he needed one.
Right.
So
Right.
it's just one of those things that wouldn't have mattered. You know, you think about crazy stuff. You think about, oh, what if I did CPR better, right? Like harder, broke his ribs and stuff, right? Like, and you think about all these things, like what could I have done? And it's like, you're just in a really crappy situation, right?
Yeah.
Like you do the best you can in this impossible situation, and that's all you can do,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right?
You know, yeah. Sorry, did I cut you off, Whitney? Sorry.
No, you're good.
No,
You're
what I
good.
was going to say is this is a theme I think that has come up a lot in speaking with certain people in our community. I'm talking about our friends and others, Whitney, that, and then also certain celebrities we all know or musicians who've made these incredible contributions to our lives, that maybe for some we're only allowed to have them a certain amount they own of time on the earth, that only there was a finite amount of time that they were here to make their mark, and
Yeah.
that's to be left with you because it's not up to us.
Right.
No.
And however someone, we no longer see that person and there's sharing space and oxygen with us, there's something that is left for them, something they're leaving behind for others.
Yeah.
And I think that's the comfort I think I arrive in when I think about some of these, not only in our own situation, Jamal and Whitney, and what has happened to us, but the world and that contribution, that person, and then it's picked up by somebody else. You know?
Yeah. And then it's the lessons, right? How do you extract from your experiences with this person? How do you extract as many lessons as you can
Exactly.
to help to make yourself a better person? And if you have children, how do you take those lessons and kind of allow them to experience these lessons as well? That's the one thing that I think about often is, as I think about, you know, the legacy, so to speak, that Janice left, and how do I make sure that I take the best of the experiences or any of the experiences and become a better person as a result. And then how do I take those experiences and allow the kids to to pass those on to to her children, right, to our
Yeah.
children, so that they now can also understand who their mother was, what she was about, you know, what would she be proud of, what wouldn't she be proud of, what are the things that she wanted to do in her own life that I can pass on to them, so they can say, wow, like, okay, this is who this person was. And I agree. I think there's this element of like being able to look at the accomplishments or dreams of people, and being able to bring those things forward, and so that they still exist.
The interconnection, not the resume they've built,
Right.
and the jobs they've done. Whitney, do you think about that with Ryan and his legacy as well?
Yeah, I mean, there was a few things there. It's like that like spiritual, existential question, like
Sure.
trying to, not that I think I hate everything happens for a reason. I don't think I think bad things just happen for no reason, but I do believe, and I think it's very healing to get to a point where you can find meaning from the suffering that you've been through, right? And the loss. Those are two different things, right? And I definitely, I think it's hard for people to get there. I think it takes time, but have I found a lot of meaning from that experience? 100%. Have I found a lot of meaning from the suffering that I went through? 100%. And I think for me, I've given myself permission not to have to like white knuckle or try so hard to like implement all of the things and all of the memories of Ryan to my kids, like right now. Right. It's so natural to be like, oh my gosh, I feel so much pressure to have to instill this wonderful person that's not physically here onto these little people so they know him or her. And that can feel suffocating, right? Because it's so much pressure. And I'm just like, well, right now I think the best thing I can do while they're little is take the meaning that I've gathered from this experience and be the best mom that I can be, right? And share organically without any pressure things that come up in life that remind me of Ryan, and share that with the boys.
No, I was gonna say, I think you said the word as I was literally like maybe 10 seconds before you said it. I was thinking like organically. I don't want what I share with my kids to be curated.
Right. 100%.
Right? I struggled with that a little bit. Like, we should have made more memories. Like I struggled with so much of that. But there's a part where like I prefer it, and it's more natural, and it feels better for it to be organic as opposed to, okay, it's not let's watch all the videos from Mom Day, right? Like, or forced, right? Like, I prefer that they ask, or these things come up, or what would, like, now they're 16, we're about to be 16, 21, and 30. 31, 32. And
you're just that old.
And I'm just that old now. But it's also like, so I have this, the great part is I can lean on my stepson and tell him, hey, I need you to help me pass these lessons too. Right? Because he has this very deep memory, and these, he had his mom till he was, through his early 20s. So he remembers the lessons she was trying to teach him in his early 20s. So he can bring those back, and he can do that. And that's something that I look forward to. And I know I've had that conversation with him. Like, I need your help because you had a different perspective of your mom than I did. And I need you to help me. Yeah, you're the son. So I need you to help me. Correct. And I need to help me. I need you to help me with your younger siblings, so that they can have that too, right? So they can hear what she told you that she might not have said while I was around. And
I love that.
But I don't want it to be, it's not going to be, okay, let's come to dinner. So what do you remember about Mom? Like, I don't want it to be that. I want it to be, to your point, like very organic.
I think that's why it's important. I think it's really helpful. Obviously, I have a platform that I talk about grief and my experience. I also think it's really important to not compare yourself with other widows and widowers and like what works for them, right? Because there are some people that they find peace in going through photo albums with their kids. Like that's like a nightly thing. Like my kids are crazy. Like they wouldn't have the attention for that. Like that just doesn't like work into our lifestyle, right?
Yeah.
But are there things like they'll ask me questions and I always love answering them about their dad, and are there things that I'll mention that just remind me of him, and like that just works for our dynamic and their personalities. So you have to figure out what works for you and your family.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Talking about moving forward. That's what you're doing. And I want to kind of turn to this chapter now in your life, in this new love. Man, Anthony is some kind of guy. I like this guy. I really, really like this guy. Just I may look down in my little notes, but just
That's
the post
okay.
that he made a while ago, and just he felt that he was placed here to take care of you and the boys. You know, that just to love and care for them. Period. I love this dude, man.
Yeah.
I love this dude. And just that he said, I always thought that was a beautiful, moving sentiment, but I never expected to receive any sort of validation for he's talking about his role, you know, from other people outside looking in. But he's so gracious and understanding. Now I'm gonna take them forward, man.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take this family forward
Yeah.
and love this woman and love these children and move them forward. Man, talk about Anthony. I mean, this is my guy. Can you say a little bit more about him?
Yeah, of course. He's just like the steadiest. He's like a rock, right? I call him my oak tree because it's just like even when I was and it's really I mean it's like one of those things you meet somebody and you don't plan on meeting them when you do, and it's just like no matter when someone's placed into your life, you have to just figure it out, right? Because I met him very early on in my grief, and I was not like doing well, like at all. You know, there were moments where I was okay, but I was really early grief is like a beast. And there was a lot of times where the grief was so intense that I really pushed him away because it was hard. Obviously over time.
Wait, was that about opening your heart again? That you didn't feel you deserved it? What was it? Why did you push him away?
I think it was mostly how overwhelming grief was for me, and it was felt like a mistress, right? Like it was just like so crowded. Like emotionally, I think my bandwidth was like I was like, I don't feel like I can even show up in a way that's healthy for somebody because my grief is taking up so much space. Like, how do I give energy to this person? But I also, obviously, it worked out. But what I had to do, it was like very intense because, like I said, you don't really plan on when you meet the person. So you're presented with this opportunity and you have a choice. You can either lean into that or be like, okay, maybe I just need to take some time and like work on myself while not being in a relationship. And for me, I was like, this person feels like they're here for me. I feel very safe in his presence. He just took up so much of this mental and emotional load, and even like just physical activities like in the house, like laundry and stuff. And it was just so helpful, right? There's like tangible, practical things. While I was trying to process a lot of the early grief stuff. So we were growing together in that way. He was trying to figure out like what his place was with grief, right? And figuring out what I needed and what the boys needed, and just trying to be that steady presence without, being overwhelming or like trying to dictate things, right? He was just there, which again, the presence is so helpful. Obviously our relationship we will be together 4 years in June. So it's evolved and changed and transitioned. And I really had to lean into processing a lot of grief in real time while we were building a relationship, it's hard.
Yeah.
I always say when you start dating and you get into another relationship, there are parts of grief layers of grief that come up only when you're dating or in a relationship, right?
Absolutely.
Like
Yeah.
comparison and guilt and shame and like feeling like, oh my God, am I cheating? Like it still feels because you still have you still have that attachment, right? That attachment never goes away. I'm just learning how to integrate everything. It was all happening at once instead of like, okay, I really feel kind of stable in my grief and then getting into a relationship. That's just not how it happened for me.
Yeah.
Is Anthony an open communicator with that? Meaning you not necessarily have to give a temperature check to him every day, but you wanted to know, look, man, I'm going through a lot to get to open myself completely to whatever we're going to be. Was he communicative in that? Was he receptive? Was he tell me a little bit about your process with him?
Yeah, I think also that was a work in progress because it's hard to even know what you need, especially when you're just trying to figure out even how you feel, right? So it was just so overwhelming. And obviously, I was going to therapy and trying to figure it out, but it's sometimes hard to communicate your needs when everything just feels like a lot. And that's one of the things that we've gotten so much better at over time in terms of think grief because I didn't even know how to articulate what I needed from him. And I think one of the things that people maybe have a hard time understanding is unless you're a widower, and I don't even think it's like it's still just a different experience and it's a different person, you may still not understand everything that your partner's going through if they've been through a loss, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So, and you can't expect that person to know what you're thinking. Like, that's not fair.
Yeah.
It's not fair in any relationship. It's particularly not fair in this very complex, complicated experience. So, I think people are like, oh, well, they should just kind of know how to show up for you and like be perfect. And I think sometimes on social media, how widows portray falling in love after a loss, like that can be misleading because I don't think it's that easy.
That's a very good point.
Yeah, I think the reality is the thing that I really appreciate about Anthony is that he was very willing to learn with me and grow with me. Not necessarily like he knew what to do right off the bat with my grief. I didn't even know what to do with it. So, but he was willing to be with me in it and trying to figure it out. And I think that's the quality that widows and widowers should be looking at. Not like, oh, they know exactly what to do when I'm having a bad day.
Similar to you, I met my partner and started that process earlier than I thought I would. And for sure earlier than with everybody else. I joke that I had, people telling me you need to wait 5 years. And I'm like, wait, 5, like, so there's a number on it. But similarly, I was also, they don't know, but I was also seeing my own counselor, my own grief counselor, and having that conversation with her because I was looking for a prescription, right? I was looking for when's the right time, and she wouldn't give me a right time, and I'm like, maybe I need to change counselors, right?
You're looking for validation.
I need validation because one, it's also going back to like what we talked about earlier, is like, how do you know when you're ready for these next steps? How do you know when the identity, the moving forward pieces, and what does that look like? And I also struggled with, with articulating to Jordan with, what I needed. But I realized what I was getting out of her was this very healthy distraction, right? This very healthy, she was out of most of the people who I know, many of the people who I knew, she was one of the few who were very much like, you need to focus on yourself. Let's go do something fun. Right. Like, and this is even before, like, we began our relationship, before it turned into, what it became. It was more like, you need to just go find something fun. Let's go for a hike. Let's go do this. Let's go for a run. Like, very much just forcing me to get out of the house, very much
Yeah.
giving me kind of the license to, in the past, to really focus on my own, the things that brought me joy, but also the things that brought me calm at times. And I think that was something that was really important. And to your point, like I'm now married. I'm going to be married 6 years
Oh,
6 years now.
congratulations. That's awesome.
And thank you very much. And but there's point, I still struggle with telling her what exactly I need,
Yeah,
right?
so
In general,
hard.
because I'm a man, and we generally, they say we don't know how to like talk about our emotions. But even there are times where something presents itself about that's still an element of grief. That's still something that I reflect on from the past, and I have to go, and it takes time for me to also say, hey, like, this was a trigger. This thing happened today, and this
Yeah.
thing that you said, or this thing, a trigger for me is her doctor's visits. Every
Wow.
doctor's visits, every time she goes to the doctor, and
Yeah.
it's it's like, okay, like, what'd they say, right? I'm always bracing for that, and I don't know that she knows how much that's a trigger for me, but it is, and I've told her, and she gets
Yeah.
it. It's not like she's and there's times I'm like, do you want me to go with you? And
Mhm.
she's like, do you want to go with me?
I'm
I'm like,
just going to the
yeah,
dentist,
yeah. I'm just, and
Jamal.
I'm like, yeah, I'll go with you.
I just need to floss more.
Exactly,
That's
right.
why there's blood in it. Whatever.
Exactly. So, but it is those things. It is that
Mhm.
type of stuff that I think a lot of people
Yeah.
don't realize. And you have to also, as you go through that phase, and to your point, you mentioned being able to still balance the grief with the new relationship, balance
Mhm.
this progression of grief, and not saying, oh, I'm forgetting who this person is and forgetting this experience. That's not what it is. It's being open to letting something else in. And I think that's
Yeah.
something that was really important.
Yeah. And also, I mean, if you're a widow or a widower and you're getting into a relationship, like you have to realize you really do have to focus on your grief because so many parts of that experience, like it might be not like healthy to be in a relationship with somebody, right? Like it
Right.
because it becomes not all about you, and grief makes it.
Right.
It's very grief is very like egotistical because it's like my grief and my pain and my trauma, and you have to let go of a lot of that, right? It can't just all be about you all the time. Like that's not a
Right.
healthy relationship. There's another person that also has needs and feelings, and
Absolutely.
I feel like in the beginning that was hard for me because it was like I'm going through so much, like it should just be all about me, and it's like, and then I remember the first time we actually got not like an argument, but there was I posted something about my grief and Ryan, and he was like, it just feels like you're not present with me, right? It just feels like you're somewhere else. And I remember thinking like, yeah, he's right. Like I'm not really being present. I'm really just kind of stuck in this like time warp, right? And
Yeah.
I think that was a turning point for me to be like, I really need to figure this out to be the type of person, the right person for this amazing person. Like, is that me? Right? Because I wanted him to be able to get everything that he needed from the relationship as well.
Yeah.
So I think that was just like a prompt for me to not like expedite it, like my healing, because I don't think you can do that, but just to be like, okay, I need to go to therapy every week. I really need to write about this. I really need
Yeah.
to assess like a healthy balance. A healthy balance.
To find your capacity, right?
Yeah.
To handle, hey, he's going through stuff professionally
Yeah.
or personally. He's going to have loss too.
Even, I
Yeah.
mean, even I think there's also, I mean, I think even, and I I've had a lot of conversations with my wife around this too, is for a person who is decided to date, eventually marry a person who is a widower, or a widower, it's also a lot of pressure on them. It's a lot of
Oh my gosh.
responsibility on
Yeah.
them. And I think equally, yes, we have to make sure we're paying attention to what we need, what we voice, what we're thinking, how we express it and share it with them. But also, it's also being as in that in our place, in our roles, we also have to recognize that we've got to also like make sure we're tuned into what they need, what
Yeah.
they're feeling, especially when there's children in the place. I know like that's a conversation that,
Yeah.
Jordan and I have also had, is like the pressure that she may feel or she's feeling of taking on the responsibility of being a
Yeah.
co-parent to
Mhm.
children who've lost, and also trying to form her own place and her own position in their lives, while still making sure that they feel welcome and free to honor their,
Yeah.
like, not feeling, hey, this isn't a competition, right? Like we talked about, like we always
Yeah.
talk about, like the making sure you're not putting the your late spouse or your late partner on a
Mhm.
pedestal that
Yeah.
the new parent feels self-conscious about, right? Or the new partner feels self-conscious about. So like those are things
Yeah.
that I think also, like to your point, like, we have to allow them to have that space.
It is not, I mean, it is not easy for them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in the beginning, I think you don't even think about that. You're just like, and I just remember kind of being like, oh, do you want to go to this fundraiser or like this event for like Ryan's like police department? And like just
Yeah.
thinking, okay, he just has to kind of be okay. And like,
Right.
looking back, I'm
Put
like,
that
wow,
suit on.
yeah, like I was really asking a lot of him and just like
Yeah. Yeah.
expecting him to be totally okay and not to have any feelings about it. Like that's so,
Yeah.
my God, like, but
Yeah.
I mean, that's the space I was in because it really was just about me. And now it's so much more balanced and my grief is so much more integrated instead of
Mm-hmm.
like this huge entity that feels like
Yeah.
it takes up so much room.
Yeah. I think it also gives, I think about it in the context of how much it shows about their character
Yes.
to be selfless
Yeah.
enough in those moments to be there for you, be there for
Mm-hmm.
your family, and your friends. Like as awkward as it may be or feel for them in the moment, like they're being selfless in the moment, but they're also showing
Yeah.
their love and support of you and
Yeah.
your children in that. And I think that, as difficult as it is, it, to me, I think, and Jordan had her moments similar to that, where, you know, I felt like, wow, like, thank you so much for sacrificing. I may not have said it, probably will say it today, when I go home. But thank you
Yeah.
so much for sacrificing
Mm-hmm.
and being so selfless in those moments, because
Yeah.
it is hard.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Hey, Whitney,
Mm-hmm.
we recently had an episode where we had kind of viewer feedback
Yeah.
and comments. It was a comment episode, and a
Mm-hmm.
couple of different comments kind of resonated with us for
Uh-huh.
sure. And we wanted to kind of get your take on a little bit of this as relates
Okay.
to the work that you do and the life that you lead as well. So here's the one. You kind of talked about this a little bit just now when we were talking about Ryan and also Anthony and his role. But
Mm-hmm.
this, I'm kind of looking at the note to say, they said, when you talk about moving forward and dating, it sounds like you all don't like your late wives on a number of levels, or that you have some unrealistic bar for your future partners. What's up with that? So I want you to
Mm-hmm.
kind of respond to that as it relates to your experience and maybe even your coaching.
That's a lot there. I mean, I think number one, I, I think people have a very hard time understanding when you lose a spouse. That's your reality that you live in all
Mm,
the time, right? And there's so much space for love after
Mhm.
you lose somebody. I don't know why people feel like love is a finite resource and it's like you can't hold so much love for the person that's not physically here and try to place meaning on like their life and their legacy and all of that. And then also like you're living your life, you are alive, right?
mhm.
But your spouse is not. And it's like you have to continue to live. You're the one that's here. I really think conceptually people have a very hard time because they separate I think they equate honoring your late spouse with
Mhm.
not having love for another person, which is
Hmm.
silly,
Mm.
especially when you're a younger person that, you know, that you have many, many decades of your life left. Like, what are you supposed to do? I mean, I think that's part of it. And I think it's hard for people to realize like people can move forward with somebody else after somebody dies. So I think it also has something to do with their own fear of mortality and maybe like their partner being able to move forward if they die, right? So I think it's like again, like the ego and also fear of death and things that people don't like to talk about. Love is you wouldn't say that about kids, right? No one would be like, oh, you shouldn't have that second kid because you're not going to have enough love for him, or like the first one,
Right. Yeah.
right? Like no one says that.
Right. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
More kids. You should have more kids.
Yeah, like I don't know why that experience of love has to stop, like with a life partner.
Yeah.
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 Another one, and I don't know if you have experienced this or seen feedback or had discussions around this, but similarly, another element of feedback or another thing is, how long are you guys going to grieve for your wives? It sounds like you haven't gotten over them yet. So it's similar but different feedback. What's your thoughts on that one?
I mean, I think the question that comes to mind is like, so, like, what does, like, how long does love last? Which is forever, right? It's like grief is love that you're not able to, for a person that's not physically here, right? So grief will last, and that mourning for them is going to last as long as the love lasts for them, which is as long as you're here. Again, those things are people that haven't experienced this type of loss, like it's so black and white for them. And what I realize is grief makes everything in the gray. Like so many things can coexist at one time, right? You can be in like the most painful experience of your life and you can still laugh like the moment later, right? And you can still feel so much gratitude or so much love for your kids or laugh at a joke that they had. Like so many things can coexist and exist at one time. And I think people need to realize that grief where somebody that's not physically here anymore can also coexist with having a relationship, a very healthy relationship with somebody else that is here. I think people's minds are too, it's restrictive.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it goes back, to the idea that, and I think this is why we started this and why you started your journey with sharing and kind of realize that it was necessary, is because people don't talk about grief. So many people don't know what grief is. And I think that's, to your point, it's not this finite thing that has an ending per se. It will look different through the years as it evolves, and it should look different through the years as it evolves, because you evolve. And I think because of that, a lot of people don't know what it should look like. They may not have experienced it, or they may experience it peripherally with loss at an arm's distance. But until you lose somebody who is your day and day partner, I think it looks different, and it's going to be different. And I think, to your point, like being able to what we do, I think helps to show people that it is going to be different, and it is not this finite thing that has an ending per se. It is going to live with you in different, differently over time. So
Well,
I think
again, what Whitney said about the grief, it's heavy. You're always going to carry it with you. It's not forgotten because it's always with you, for sure. Whitney, did you have more thoughts? I didn't mean to cut you off if I did.
Oh, no, you're fine. I was just also going to say it's either that question, like, how long are you going to grieve? Or it's like the opposite. It's like, oh, you're not grieving enough. So it's like no one's ever satisfied. I think a lot of people would look at me, and I mean, if I had to like assess myself, like if someone saw me in real life, they wouldn't think I'm a grieving person. Like I'm not crying every day anymore, right? Grief really does change and transform. I mean, for me, grief is not that longing or pain anymore. It's more so much gratitude, right? So when I see a photo or a video of Ryan, I'm not breaking out to tears anymore. It's more like I'm so grateful. I feel so much love and gratitude for like this person that had so much impact on me and like had such a part in who I am today. And it's like, how do I live my life with their best qualities in mind and like bring that forward? But that's an internal thing, and no one's understand. Like no one knows that. Like that's going through my mind. So it would look on the outside, oh, she's not grieving at all, but like grief is also all the like that processing as well.
And it's everything below the surface too, really. We shouldn't all be at the surface all the time. That's not talk about being human, right? It's that we discussed earlier. So our last one, I guess it's a tag team really, but this whole idea of wife or husband replacement. And you move on. Jamal has remarried. You, Whitney, have remarried. And it's before getting that process, it's explaining to all of these people in your universe and your parents. So I think it's that whole comment of how do you do that convincingly? Whitney, tell me about your experience or anything you want to offer to the people who are watching and listening to us. How do you make people understand this is who's in my life, but not a replacement? So go and speak on that a little bit.
Right. I think of the kid example. It's like you can't replace a child, right? Just by having another child, right? If a child passes away, like that is an individual person. You can't replace them by having another child. I conceptually, I feel like that's more understandable to people than spouses because it's like, it really does feel like, oh, well, I can get remarried again, right? After a spouse dies. Okay, well, I lost a whole person over here. That's not the same person that I'm married to. That wouldn't have been, I'm not living the life that I would have been living with that other person. It's also not the person that I had my children with, right? All these secondary losses. It's like, people aren't chess pieces where you just like move around, right? And it just, it's like we treat people talk about remarrying like it's like an Amazon return, right? It's like an absolutely ridiculous concept.
And leave a bad review. This is not what I expected.
Well, it's funny you say. I was listening to a friend or exchanging with a friend who, I think his sister-in-law passed away, and they were. This is just this past holiday season. The brother was now bringing the new person in his life and to holiday dinner, which is as if there's not enough pressure on a regular day. He decided to do it in a holiday dinner, right?
Oh God,
But like on the way there, like my friend was telling me how his kids were basically like, I don't want a new auntie, and I don't want to meet her, and and then there was like this discussion of like, has he he hasn't even thought about us, right? And like, we don't want a new auntie, or I don't want a new sister-in-law. There's this conversation in his car on the way to dinner, and I'm thinking to myself, like, it was funny because obviously we've been there, and we but it was just an interesting discussion. It was like, well, imagine that you had another uncle that decided he wanted to date, and he had never been married before, and he was just bringing the new person. Like, this doesn't like say, hey, we have to erase this person from history. This is a new person. Back to your point, this is a new individual who is going to be new experiences. And if by chance they get married, it's a new auntie, not a replacement auntie, right? And that was something that I thought about. I thought it was funny. I mean, I said, I'm like one, like, for as much as you guys are frustrated or have thought about this, I always say this every time I always thought about this, and I actually said it to people when they would ask me why I'm doing certain things, during that time period. And I would tell them, I guarantee that I've thought about this a million more times than you have.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And in way with way more depth and way more complexity. But yeah, like the auntie and the replacement theory is real. Replacement theory for sure.
Yeah. I think people think it's so weird. It's, it's like we have our lives with our spouse, and nobody treats us like children, right? Like there's boundaries involved. There's not like superimposing themselves, asking an inappropriate question, then you become a widow or a widower. And it's like everybody thinks that you owe them every explanation about like your dating life and oh you're moving, why did you move that picture, like what is going on, like what, like relax, like Jesus. It's like
It's true.
everybody
It's
thinks
true.
like they own, you become almost like you feel like property, almost like
Right.
people,
Yes. Community property. You become,
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
No, this is not like that situation at all. I don't owe you an explanation. I don't need to
Right.
explain to you certain things. Like I don't need you to tell you about my dating life. You just don't owe people anything unless you want to share. And also you didn't become a toddler. You're still an adult, right? Like Jamal said, like I have, if you're asking these questions, believe me, I probably went to therapy about it. I'm journaling about it.
Yeah, exactly.
I am waking up in the middle of the night, like in a sweat, nervous about it. I know you probably just popped in your head right now, but like I got it. Like,
that's right. And had to call me or text me, and talk about it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so unnecessary.
So, Whitney, there's this point in our program where Jamal and I are big music, TV guys, and film, and music in particular.
Yeah.
The soundtrack of our life is
important.
Said.
Yes.
It's very, very important. So, Miss Whitney Allen, we want to turn to you and hear about some music that kind of still, first of all, that you're really in heavy rotation for you, that you really enjoy, whether it's new or it's from your past, and it just seems like you need that default song. Let me go ahead and play this Duran Duran or whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? So, Whitney, tell us about music in heavy rotation for you right about now.
Oh my gosh, that's such a hard question because it's usually I'm like listening to the radio.
Harder than all the questions we asked you before about grief and okay.
This is probably the hardest question. Honestly, I mean, if I was kind of thinking about this today because I was listening to the radio. Taylor Swift, Ophelia came on, and I typically don't love Taylor Swift, but like that song just is great, and it like makes you want to dance. And I honestly, it like hit me like there are people, or there has been a time where you might think I'm never going to dance in the car again, right? And like be happy. And I really was thinking about this today. It's like, oh, like I'm at that point where I can put on like a happy song and dance in the car, like just like it's any regular day, right? And there was a time where I was just listening to really sad music and crying in the car, right? I think when you notice those transitions, it's like, it's a big deal. And whenever I'm really big into Signs, and whenever Sublime comes on, which is Ryan's favorite band, it's just like a nod from him. And I always share with the boys, your daddy Ryan loves Sublime. They actually played it after Ryan died, and they took him in the van or whatever car they took him in. They did a police escort and they played Sublime, Santeria over the loudspeakers. So that's always, before it was hard to listen to that, and now when it comes on, it's like it feels good. It feels like a nod from him. Yeah.
Wow. I like that. So Sublime,
Yeah.
Ophelia is definitely on every time I get in the car.
I don't know why I love
Jordan,
that. I love
when
that
Jordan
song
has
so
driven
much.
the car, I like Ophelia. At least probably Ophelia is on, but definitely something by Taylor Swift, and
Yeah.
her and my youngest bond over at hardcore. It's interesting that you mentioned these listening to music that's
Mhm.
that's sad, but we
Mhm.
talked about that a lot. Like, what are the things that excite you? And then to your point,
Mhm.
like, yeah, I think it's a great place to find yourself now, where you can actually listen to music and you don't feel bad
That's amazing.
with
Yeah.
it bringing joy to you now. So
Yeah,
that's beautiful.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, who knew? Taylor Swift. I mean, it's like it's one of those things everyone's like so obsessed with her. I'm like, I kind of hate that I like this song. Like, I'm like, why do I love a song? Like,
You're now a
God,
Swiftie.
Yeah,
God
you know,
damn
you're
it,
kind of,
Taylor.
yeah.
You
Sorry,
you
that's
got me with that stupid song. All right.
you're in the crew now. You're in
Yeah.
the crew now. So
Yeah.
well, we really want to thank Whitney, your time, your advice, your journey, which continues. My man Anthony too.
Oh yeah.
My man
Yeah.
Anthony,
Oh yeah.
and just your boys and just sharing about Ryan and what you have learned from your experience with him, how the boys kind of internalize it, your
Mhm.
young boys. And we're just so thankful for you that the all that you're doing for widows out there and men, as you said,
Yeah.
as well.
Mhm.
And I'll continue to follow you. I'm inspired by you as well, Whitney, just all that you have contributed to the world, because people are extracting a lot of good and moving on incrementally.
Absolutely.
So we really thank you for your time today with us. Hopefully there'll be another time too, and would love to break bread with you at some point. We live
Oh,
close
I love
enough,
that. Yeah,
yeah, that
that'd be
we should
awesome.
we should look at doing something like that. So, well, folks, thanks for joining
This
us.
has been great.
Yeah, I
Thank
mean,
you, Whitney.
oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
thank you guys. And I'll be looking out for the widowers retreat because
We'll definitely do
Yeah,
it.
she said it.
She said it.
She
We have
said
to
it.
do it.
So
We
we
have
have
to
to
do
yeah.
it.
tap. We have
Yeah.
to tap Whitney
Yep.
and say, "Hey, what do you think
I
about this,
have
Whitney?"
believe me, I get messages every day. I really do. So there's definitely a need for it. So I
Okay.
think you guys should lead that. I think that it
Okay.
would be really helpful.
That'd be
Okay.
great.
All right. We'll do
We're
that.
looking
We'll do
forward to
that.
it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So thanks again, Whitney, and look forward to speaking to you again.
Yeah. Thank you guys.
Yeah. Man, Jamal.
That was amazing.
Oh, Whitney Allen. Come on.
She's my grief idol.
For sure. you know, I don't know if I can run in stilettos like she talks about in plays. I know it's a metaphorical thing,
Yeah, but no,
but
it was a great. I mean, we touched on so many different things,
yeah,
from her experience, her personal experience, to how she found motivation to take this new journey and help other people.
yeah.
While taking care of two boys, starting a new family,
And a newborn at
and a
this. Oh
newborn.
man,
Yeah,
the power of maternalistic instincts and Whitney. You heard about how she grew up.
yeah,
Just the parents making sure she was organized and the
and
career that she moved into.
mhm,
So kind of hope for the best, plan for the worst, and she didn't even know that's what she was doing.
that's it.
You know.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
yeah,
This is another amazing episode,
yeah.
another great interview with amazing people that we love doing. So we hope you enjoyed this episode. We ask you to join us, listen, continue to support us, like us, do all the things, subscribe. That's how
Right.
we continue to get our support and get to get this show in front of amazing people like you. And you get to listen to us and listen to the amazing people that we get to interview.
Yeah, comment back to us, and particularly the episodes when we have these types of conversations. Want to hear what's on your mind?
Yeah.
And some things and comments and different aspects of your life that we can bring to the wider community and bring in people such as Whitney Lyn Allen. So, guys, women, everybody, thanks for joining us on this episode of Getting Back Up, Finding Life After Death.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you for joining us on Getting Back Up, Finding Life After Death. If something in today's episode spoke to you, pass it on, because somebody out there needs to hear this.
For sure. We're on all the social mausoleums. So follow us on Instagram, Threads, TikTok. Mostly it will be in the form of Get Back Up podcast.
And be sure to subscribe to us on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcast.
And remember, getting knocked down is part of life.
But getting back up, that's how we live.
We'll see y'all next time.